Okay, so we're going to make a grid. There's many ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the way I've done it today. I'm going to do it all by eye. I'm not going to measure anything out, and just follow me and let's see what we create. All right, so let's go to the pen tool, click on the side, hold down Shift, makes a nice straight line so we know where we're heading. All right, let's click again. All right, we've got one line. That is our horizon. Okay, the next one we're going to want to do is a line going down. So go to the center of your document. There it is, green line. And select, let's just click, let's press Command and click, and just to get out of it so we're not continuing on the line. All right, so let's click it here. Hold down the Shift key. There we go. We've got our vertical line now. Now we're going to want to make the bottom fatter than the top. So let's head over to the stroke tool. And we're going to head to pressure. We're going to click a line in the middle there. And if we drag them down, you can see that both sides are getting more thin. And the center is remaining the same. So what we want to do is drag this across. And that will make the bottom of the line fat and the top thin. Okay, so now that I've seen it, it's still quite thin, so I'm gonna up that a little bit. Okay, let's go to the node tool and drag it down a bit. There we go. So what we want to do now is copy and paste this line going up, as the distance is where the horizon is. So we're going to choose the arrow key and we're going to press Command C and Command V. That will copy the same shape again, which you can see in your layers panel. Alright, we're going to grab the node tool over here and we're just going to drag it by eye. Let's say here, that'll do. Alright, and we're going to keep doing that as we go up. So same again, Command C, Command V. Drag it up. There you go. Command C, Command V. Command C, Command V. I'm going to stop saying that now because it's getting annoying. And we'll just do it until we reach the top. Alright, great. I'm happy with that for now. We're going to want to make some of these lines a bit thinner because as they go into the distance, they're going to be less visible. So on the one that we've just created, go up to line and let's make the width a bit less. There we go. And let's select the other one, make it a little bit less again. And you can see it's getting more fat. Let's make that a little bit thicker, shall we? 13, that'll do. And 14 for that one, and let's do the same with this as well. 14. Okay, so now that we've got these, we've got our horizon, we need to copy this to the other side. So go to your layers, select all of the lines. So you click the first one and you press Shift and that, and it selects all of them. Alright, let's go to the pen tool. Now that you can see we select all of them, let's press Command C, Command V. There we go, that's copied the whole lot again. So we're going to want to flip these to this side. Now we can go up here and we can flip horizontally. There we go. Hold down Shift, click and drag. There we go. So now all we need is the horizontal lines. So if we head down here, sometimes it's good to name them horizontal, so you know which is which. So there's our horizontal line. Alright, so what we're going to want to do now is repeat this, same as we did the others, bearing in mind that we are in the distance up here, and here is more the foreground. So what I'm going to do going to keep my finger on command, and I'm just going to click and drag it. That will make a copy of the same shape again. So as it's in the distance, yeah, that's alright. And I'll do the same again. Command, click, drag. Command, click, drag. Alright, so there we have it. Now we just want to get rid of this at the top here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. I'm going to head to the side here. And I'm just going to drag a line over it. There we go. So that's all of it selected. Let's just get rid of that stroke that it remembered from the last one. Alright, and just make sure it's all a square. Okay, there we go. So we've created our rectangle now. Alright, let's drag it to the bottom, and we're going to stick everything inside. So click here, shift, click, and there we go. We've selected everything now, and we're just going to drag it down and right, and that's everything nested in there now. So if we click off of here, you can see this is your grid. All done by eye. Play around, it's quite fun. Okay, so now we're going to want to change the color now that we've nested them all in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to select all of them, click, shift, and that. So we select all of them. And now we can go up to stroke and choose a color. Let's go for pink. Okay, so they're all pink now, great. Let's add a black background in the background. There we go, it's just a rectangle behind all those layers. And let's add a layer effect. So click on layer effect, go to outer glow, that's what we're looking for. And radius, let's whack that up. There we go. Oh, it's white. We need to change it to pink. So we'll click on the color here and we'll just choose a pink color. There we go. That looks fine. Okay, let's close it. Alright, so that is your grid. You can play around with it to make it however you wish, but this is how I went about designing this grid. Probably the long way around, but also you can make you could just make a flat grid with lines in Affinity Designer, copy and paste it into Affinity Photo, and from the perspective grid you can play around with it to give the perspective and then bring it back into Affinity Designer. There's lots of ways of doing it, but this way works for me. Okay, so that's your grid. Okay, now that we've completed the grid, we want to add color underneath that grid. So head over to the rectangle tool and we'll make a rectangle. There you go. Okay, so now we want to change the color of this rectangle to something more suitable. So I've chosen pink there and make it a little bit darker. So you can have any color you want in here, but I like to use a gradient tool as in the distance I want it to be changing from pink to black. So we've got black here already. Let's go over to this white color and change it to pink. Just like that. Okay, so I want the gradient to be going from up here to down here. So we're going to go to the fill tool, click that, and we are going to drag this way down. Now we're going to recreate the sun, the 80s sun, in the design I showed you earlier. Okay, so all we can see here is a circle with some lines cut out with some color. Okay, so we'll go to the circle tool. Click. And if you hold Shift and Command, it will make a full circle, not an egg shape. Alright, so let's get something similar to that. There we go. Let's choose the color. we go to Fill, we'll go to Gradient, and here is where you can change the color. So I want this black part to be more like this color here. So I'll change the color to a more pinky purple, there we go. And we want the top end to be orange or yellow. So I want it to be yellow. Now we can add points in between, so let's choose a red. So I double clicked on this line which created a new point, and let's choose a red. We need to make this a little bit more pink. Okay, so if you ever get stuck about where the line is exactly on your shape, you can click on the Fill tool and you can see it visually here. So let's bring it down here to the top of the sun and the bottom of the sun. Now that's more like what I was hoping for. Okay, so we've got the color. Now we need to make these cutaways here so you can see whatever's in the background behind it. So click on the rectangle tool. Let's create our first one. Okay, let's have a really thin line here so you can see. Let me just make it black so we can see what we're cutting away. Okay, so that looks okay. Maybe a bit thinner. Now we just want to copy and paste as we go down, making it slightly thicker each time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the pen tool. I'm going to keep my finger on Command. I'm going to click on the subject and I'm going to bring it down. That creates another copy. So let's do that. Okay, that's created in it. Make a little thicker. And we'll do the same again. Command, click, drag down. Make it slightly thicker again. And we keep doing this until we reach the bottom. Okay, so something like that. Now we want to select all of these shapes we've just made, including the sun, and we want to go up here and press subtract. And there you have it. Obviously that was just by eye and I wasn't spending much time, but now you have the cutouts. And if I show the black background, now you can see how it's made. So that's your 80s sun. Okay, so 80s moon. It's not really an 80s moon, it's just a moon that's fading out at the bottom. But today it's going to be 80s as it's part of the design. Okay, so how do we make this? Well, I will show you now. Head over to the circle tool, drag out a circle, choose the color, which we want white, and let's create another circle. So we're going to keep our finger on Command and drag out. That creates a new one. So this is where we're going to cut out our moon. So here we go, that will do. We're going to select both of them and we're going to hit subtract up here. So there we go, we have our moon. Now we're going to want to change the color at the bottom. So like before, let's go to Gradient. So we'll hit Fill and we'll go to Gradient. We'll make one side black to go with the background, and we're going to select the Fill tool over here, and so it's coming from the bottom to the top. Okay, there we have it. So that is black at the moment, but if it was on a white background you would see this. Well, let's choose a different color background. You'd see that. So if we go back onto our moon again, if we wanted this to fade out into any color that was in the background, we head back up to the gradient and we select the black and we hit opacity and we'll bring it all the way down. So now you can see there is literally nothing in the background. So whatever you create and put in the background might go through it. So we'll create a quick box here. Just make it pink or whatever. Drag it behind. Now you can see it doesn't go past the white, but you can see through from down below the opacity. Alright, so that is your moon. Now let's create the neon triangle. Here's one from my design. Let's make another one next to it. So choose the triangle tool, click, drag. If you keep your finger on shift, it won't get slimmer and fatter. There we go. Let's flip this upside down by using this tool up here. Click. Let's make it slightly darker blue. Oops. Let's make it slightly darker blue. There we go. And let's make it a little bit fatter. There we go. Let's drag it out a little bit so it looks more even. Okay, so we're going to copy and paste. So we've made another triangle on top of that, and we're going to make it slightly lighter in color. So we go up to stroke again, and there we go, slightly lighter. And let's bring down the stroke. There we go. So now you can see it's within this line. So we're going to want to add a Gaussian blur to this layer. So let's go down to the effects and Gaussian blur. And let's click and drag this out a bit. There you go. I'm happy with that. So let's close that and let's choose the triangle underneath, the darker blue one. And we'll go to the effects again and we'll press outer glow. There we go. Let's bump up the radius. And we want a blue outer glow, so let's choose a blue outer glow. There we go. So there you have your neon triangle. Okay, now we're going to try and recreate the text you saw on my 80s design. So you're going to want to choose a font in your artistic text tool. So we click on that and then you can choose your fonts. I'm using Passion 1 at the moment, which you can get from fontsquirrel.com. So I'm gonna click and I'm gonna type in the same letters as above. Okay, so I'm gonna make it slightly bigger. There we go. And okay, so we're going to want to make it look the same as this, so we're going to change the color. So we're going to go to fill and we're going to go to gradient and we're going to make it the same color as this. So we're going to go blue to white. So let's choose a blue color. Okay, and then white is chosen already. Okay, that's great. So let's go over to the fill tool, click on that, and we're going to draw a line like this. Now I want that slightly darker, so I'm going to go up to the gradient tool again, click on the blue and make it darker. There we go. Okay, so that bit's done. Now let's try and create this this mountainous range that I've drawn underneath. So we're going to go to the pen tool and we're just going to start drawing a random mountain range here. So I'll just do it quickly just so you guys can see it's very easy. Okay. So let's fill it. Let's get rid of that stroke, none, and fill. We're going to go to the gradient again. Okay, so we want it to go from white to dark purple. So here we go. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to head to purple. I'm going to make it very dark, kind of like this one. Yeah. Oh, there'll be some pink in the middle, so let's add another spot here. There you go, that looks kind of similar. Okay, so let's go to the fill tool again and we'll drag it up this way. Here we go. So now we want to drag this shape we've just created inside the text. So we're going to nest it inside there. So we'll go over here to the layers and click and drag it slightly right, and there we go, it's inside now. Okay, that's in there. Now we want to create a stroke that goes around the text. So we're going to click on our text here and we are going to click on our arrow tool. We're going to go up to stroke and we're going to choose gradient and we're going to start adding some colors in there. So I've made it kind of metallic by going white and then dark blue, white and then dark blue. So we're going to do that. So I'll make this one dark blue. And we're just going to continue doing that. Some white. Okay. We're going to go to our fill tool now that we've done all those, and we're going to head up here and change it. Instead of fill, we're going to go to our stroke. And here it is going all across. So what I like to do is just put it at an angle, just like that. So you can see it's kind of similar. Maybe we should make this stroke a little bit bigger. So we're gonna, so you can see what we've done there, and the angle that gradient's at. Okay, so there we go. Now that we've finished that, we're going to want to add a little bit of a glow in the background. So we're going to head down here, layer effects, outer glow. We're going to bump up the radius a bit. And there it is. You can change the color of it, make it more blue, red, purple, whatever you want. We're just going to go with slightly just off blue. Press close on that. So that's pretty much done, that section. Now we need to add a few reflective sort of stars. And I just created these just by going to these shapes here. So we head over to the star tool. Just make a little star anywhere. We can go in like that. Make a star, change the points to 4, bring it in from the sides. Let's change it to just pure white, and then we're going to go down. We're going to add a Gaussian blur, just to give it that bit of blur. There we go. Okay, so we've made our little reflective star. And you can add this anywhere where you think it would look cool. So I just keep my finger on command, click and drag, and I can add it to the corners or wherever you best see fit, wherever the light touches generally is a good idea. So if we come out, we can see that we have the same effect here. Make the stroke a little bit smaller, and there we have it. We've recreated the text, the retro text. So the mountains. This is a very easy part. If you can see, this is the mountain I've got in my design. I've just copied and pasted it straight over. You just create the shape. I just use the pen tool and just make whatever shape you want. Choose black, and so that's easy enough. Now if you wanted to add this cool 80s kind of effect of some kind of neon mountain, then all I did was I just added triangles pretty much just everywhere, and I changed some of them so some of them are blue, some are black, and some of them are in between that color, just as if the sun or something is reflecting off of this kind of crystal mountain. So I just made my shape, and then I just go down and I just do a triangle, select the stroke, so select a color like a stroke like that, and I pretty much just did that all around, and then I sort of nested it into the mountain. So if we wanted like a little fill, just to get some kind of reflection or something. So there's one, and then you can copy and paste that if you wish, and just play around with the shapes like so. And you do this all over. Okay, let's create the sky. Now this is a very easy part. Simply click on the rectangle and drag across. Choose the color you want. Let's go for a gradient. Let's go black to pink. Okay, now let's go to the fill tool and let's drag it from the bottom up. And there we go. That's it. So we need to drag that underneath all the background now. There we go. Now we need some stars. Another simple one. Let's zoom in. Choose the star shape, drag out to whatever size you like, and go to the effects, choose Gaussian blur. There we go, I've got a slight Gaussian blur to it, so it looks like it's far away. I'll make it a little bit smaller, and I'll drag these in a bit because it doesn't look too much like a star. There we go. So once you have that, you can simply click command and drag across and just keep making them. I'll put some to the side so it looks a little bit better. So make some bigger, make some smaller, and you can see how it works there. Another way is to use a brush to make these stars. So if I get rid of these stars here, I've made a brush pack that I'll let you guys know about when I release it. So I'll just head to Pixel Persona. I'll head over to my Celebration brush pack, and I've made some stars here already. So I'll just choose the brush and choose this one, bring it down a little bit, and I can just paint the stars on just like that, nice and easy. And that's pretty much how you do the stars. Let's go over the elements we have made already. So to start with, we made a grid. Then we made the shading that goes underneath the grid. Then we made a sun and the moon. And then we added black mountains. And we also added that cool neon effect. Next, we added the triangle and also the text that went with that triangle. And we also added the sky and some stars to go in with that. So the only thing left now is the reflections and the overall effect over the whole image. So the reflections can be made like this. So if we go up to our text and we select the text and the triangle, we're going to want to make a reflection of this. So if you put them in a group and Command C and Command V, that's copied it. Let's flip it upside down. And let's squeeze it down here. So this would be one way of doing it, and then we could bring down the opacity. But as this is the foreground down here and the background back up here, it isn't going to be an exactly the same shape as it is up here. So you could leave it like that, but if you're a bit of a perfectionist, you could do it this way. So let's just go back. So I'll take this grouped text and triangle, and I'll press Command C. If you have Affinity Photo, you can open that up now. Okay, so now we're in Affinity Photo. I'll go to File, press New, OK, and now we want to press Command V. That will copy what we've just made. So I want to put that upside down. So I'll just drag it upside down. And now we want to go to the perspective grid, which is down the bottom left-hand corner. From here, we can change the perspective that we want. So let's make it a bit smaller, and then we can drag this in. A little bit less. So there, I think that might work. I'll just drag this out a little bit more. Okay. So now Command C to copy it, and let's go back over to Affinity Designer. Okay, from here, Command V, and it's copied. So now you can see that it's a perspective as if it's going away from us. So it's going to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be a little bit skewed. So the next thing we want to do is make it look like a reflection. So I'll bring down the opacity. It still looks very clear, and this might be nice for you, but we can also add a Gaussian blur, as it might not be such a smooth surface as glass. Okay, so now there's your reflection. So the last part we're going to look at is other reflections, like the sun. That's going to reflect. The moon might reflect a little bit as well. You do the same thing for those as we did for this retro text. So if I head to the sun, I'll just press Command C and Command V. That has created another copy of it, and let me just drag it up to the top so I know it's going to end up above the grid. Let's turn it upside down, drag it down here, and it's probably going to be off to the side a little bit. And if you go just over here, you can see these two arrows. You can point it so it goes a little bit across. Now it doesn't matter too much because this is going to be quite blurred out. Okay, let's bring the opacity down on that one. And we'll do the same again, Gaussian blur. And you can play around with it until you're happy. And you can do the same for the moon and anything else. Let me get rid of that for now, and I will stick on the actual reflections that are in my design. Now, not only did I add the reflections of the moon and everything, I also added just other colors as well, like slightly more orange around here, or slightly purple around here, just to give it an even more 80s feel. And I'd simply just drag a shape, choose a color I wanted, add Gaussian blur to the max, like that. And I just drag it somewhere and bring down the opacity. And you can do lots of layers like this to get a nice effect. So that is it. The last effect I'd like to show you is this screen effect, I've called it, where it's basically a bunch of lines going across the screen, kind of like it's an old monitor, like this. So I made this myself, and I will show you how to do that. So if we just take everything off, and we'll just make a black background. Okay, so basically all you want to do is draw a square over the whole page, make it white. Okay, now you just want to draw a line, like a box. Let's make it black so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you have a black line here. Let's make it really thin. So once you've made that first one, I want you to press Command J. This is going to help you to super duplicate it. So once you've done that, now you just drag it down. Okay, now you press Command J again, and it will create exactly the same sequence of steps you've just taken, and it will just repeat that. So if you just keep pressing Command J, it will create lots of layers of this line. Okay, so that's filled the whole page now. Let's go ahead and group all those lines together. Okay, so we're going to select all of those lines, and we're also going to select that white box we made previously. Now we're going to press Subtract. Okay, now we have this grid. So this grid, if we look now, if I make something behind it, you'll be able to see what it's created. So it's created a white box with lines taken out of it, chunks taken out of it. And this is what we apply over the whole design. And this is the one I made earlier. So there we go, we've got everything there. This is the one I made earlier. I simply did that, and then I added the Gaussian blur on it, so it's a little bit blurry, and I took down the opacity. And there you have it. That is your retro 80s design. I'd just like to say thank you for all those who have watched this tutorial. I hope you found it very useful in learning how to use Affinity Designer. Before you go, I'd like to tell you that this design is going to be available on my website to download for free the Affinity Designer file, so you'll get everything you've seen in this video. Plus I'm including some extras so you can personalize it even more, and they're going to be the original grid so you can mess around with that, and some kind of 80s light like in space, a few triangles, kind of like futuristic triangles. Somehow they're futuristic. So yeah, I'll add a link in the description where you can go download it, and it's yours to keep. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon.